In this lecture, we are now going to begin the process of creating sub-channels. So the first thing that we want to do is to actually set up the view for creating a sub-channel. So right now we just have the form here to actually add a sub-channel, but something is missing, which is the channel that the sub-channel will actually belong to. So we're going to start from that. Let's get back again to the text editor, sub-channel controller. And then here we basically want to grab all of the active channels. So we can say channels is equal to channel where. So we want to get all the ones that have not been archived. So if they have not been archived, the archived column value will be equal to 0. Okay, so we want to get all of that. And then we also want to get all of the sub channels if any is actually existing. So sub channels. So for this, we want to get a paginated list. So we can say sub channel paginated. And then we want to make this 7. And then we can actually compact channels and sub channels. Okay, so this way we'll be able to actually pass in sub channels and also the channels to the view. So I'm going to just do it there and dump on this, see if we actually get anything. So because we have not created any yet, so let's see what's the returned value. Okay, so this is actually empty. So the items are empty because we've not actually created any. Right, so let's go to show the form again, and then now we want to add one more feed here so that they'll be able to select a parent channel. So let's get back again to the view. So that will be subchannel.blade.php. Then inside of the form, we want to have another form group. So that will be form-group. And then we want to create a label to be for channel. And then the text should be parent channel. And then here we can actually loop through the list of channels that is being returned. So let's change this to sub channel name. And then we can also set the value to be equal to the old value. So that should be old name. So what I want to do here is to actually create a partial view that we can use to display a list of channels. The reason why I'm doing that is because later we are going to be in a situation where we need to show all of the list of channels that are available, and then we can actually just reuse that partial view. So let's come inside of partials folder, and then let's call this channels.blade.php. So inside of here, we want to add a select list. So we're going to say select, and then the class will be the bootstrap form control, and we can basically set the name to be equal to channel. And then we can set the ID to be equal to channel. And then inside of the select control, we can then say if it's set channel, which is the variable that is being passed through the controller, and count channels. So if this is the case, it means that we have at least one channel. So here we can say S, and then we can say and if. So what we basically want to do if we have at least one channel is to just create a for each loop. So we want to loop through the variable channel, and then here we want to end for each, and then inside of here we create options. So we say option value, this should be the channel ID, and then what will be displayed to the user will be the channel name. Otherwise, we're just going to say no channels available. So we can say options, value. This should be empty string so that we'll be able to prevent the user from actually submitting the form. Then we can say no channels available. Okay, so this is all that we need to do right here. We can now come back again to subchannels, and then here we want to just include that view. So we're going to say at include partials dot channel. And then now we can then try to do a refresh on the browser. And then we can see that we have our channels displayed here. And then the last thing that we want to do is to be able to display a list of these sub channels. So we can actually grab the code that we have inside of channels for the table part. So right here, we can actually just grab this code. So let's just take all of this and then come back to sub channels, and let's just replace it. And then change this to sub channels. And then here we want to be checking for sub channels. And this should be sub channels. And then this should be sub channels. Okay, and then we can leave the rest the way they are, or if you want to change them, you can actually just change this to sub channel. And then this should now be sub channels links. So remember that if we come again to our sub channels controller, we are already passing that variable through, which is a paginated list of sub channels. So we'll be able to actually get away with that. Okay, so let's refresh. And then right now we can see here that we have not created any sub channels. So final edit for the form. Come here and then just make this sub channel one word. Alright, in the next lecture, we are now going to write the functionality to actually persist a sub channel to the database.